But let's start with Joel. Welcome to the show.
Michael, thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Joel, give our audience a feeling for who you are, what you do, and how you help people, and then let's dive into some of the questions we've developed for you.
Yeah, so I'm currently helping people become financially free. I work as a prosperity coach, and I work with people to help them overcome their money blocks so that they can become financially free. And I transitioned into this role in the last 18 months. I had been a hedge fund manager. I have a long history in the finance industry. But I had a realization a little over 18 months ago that this is my, may sound cliche, but this is my true purpose in life, to help others become financially free.
If it is what it is. Now, you've got a new book out that I want to open up with and walk through some of the kinds of things that you do in your new book. Can you bring that to the surface first?
Sure. So the book is called The Mindful Money Management, Memoirs of a Hedge Fund Manager. It should be out within the next few weeks. And if you ask me what the book's about, I have to tell you a story. I recently started sending out emails about the book, and I had an email I got back from a guy I've known for about 5 years, and he told me he didn't want to be on the distribution list, which gives you a free chapter a week until the book's published early next year. So I asked him, why he didn't want to be on the distribution list, and he explained to me, well, he used to be a trader, and this sounds like a book all about money management, that he's not trading stocks anymore, and he doesn't really need to have any education on money management. And so what I explained to him was this book is about as much about mindfulness as it is about money management. And in fact, everyone is or should be managing their own personal finances and using the mindful techniques that I discuss can be applied to your own personal finances.
Okay, and I'm taking that you took excerpts out of your life with how you faced adversity, whether it was in the stock market or other parts of your life, and then put that into the book, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, the subtitle is Memoirs of a Hedge Fund Manager. So the book is about lessons I learned as a hedge fund manager, but more importantly, it's about being of service to others. And I included views into how I looked at the world around me and the mindful practices I used to deal with the adversities I had while managing my own hedge fund and also managing a fund for Citigroup prior to that. So it's about the various techniques I use to stay happy or become happy during challenging stock market moves and, of course, individual company declines or when shorts went up against me. So I have chapters about unconditional happiness, about acting as if, about gratitude, feeling good now, and trusting your gut and trusting your intuition.
How do you equate mindfulness as it's applied to, say, money management, both professionally and personally?
Great question. Well, let me tell you another story, something that happened in September 2008. It was early morning, about 3:30 on Friday, September 19, 2008, and I was awake. I couldn't go back to sleep. I was in a really cold sweat, and this had been going on for months. My whole body was dripping wet. But this time, this early morning on September 19th, I knew why I was in this cold sweat. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, the night before, had taken emergency action to temporarily ban the short selling of financial stocks. And I was managing a long-short equity hedge fund that invested only in financial companies. So I was up at 3:30 thinking, am I going to get fired? How can I do my job? I can't hedge anything. And I woke up. I couldn't go back to sleep. I couldn't stop thinking about what was going to happen later that day. And none of those scenarios were good. I realized we were going to lose a ton of money. It was going to be the worst day of my career. And we spent most of that morning being mindful, deciding what prices to buy back half of the shorts, what prices to cover the rest of the shorts. Because of the ban, we couldn't short anymore, so we really couldn't do anything that day because all the prices, both longs and shorts, were going up. But what we did do is purposely look at every single short position in the portfolio and decide when to cover half and when to cover the rest of the position. We knew that the market would eventually go back down because you can't regulate a market. And, to me, that is going to have dire consequences, which it did. And we wanted to be prepared for what did happen and have a set procedure in place. So what is mindful money management? It's being present. It's being aware of what's going on in your investments and also being aware of what's going on in the overall marketplace. It's making decisions that you have faith in since you've done the work, you've done the analysis, and you're confident in the value of the investment over the long term. This really gives you a distinct advantage over people who care about weekly or monthly or sometimes even daily performance, i.e. a lot of professional investors. So to me, being mindful is not staring at the stock screen all day and trying to take advantage of a small move in a stock, but it's doing your analysis up front, knowing what the company's worth under various scenarios, and being able to take advantage of moves in the market or individual stock and having a prescribed method on how to react.
Good answer.
Being present and being aware of your emotions.
In your book, I'm sure you discuss financial freedom. I mean, that's the whole mantra here. Bring that out for us.
Yeah, great question. So my main goal is to help at least 100,000 people become financially free. That's what I believe is my true purpose. And, if I were to coach 1,000 people a year, that would take 100 years. And I'm not sure I'm going to live another 100 years. But if I were to do 10 seminars a year and have 200 people show up each time, it would take me 50 years. And I could do maybe 20 webinars a year and have 500 people listen online. It could take 10 years. But writing this book, I could reach 25,000 or maybe a lot more people, and it could take just a few years, 4 years or less. So to me, I wanted to write this book to get the information out to people to help them become financially free. So what is financial freedom? Now, some people have said financial freedom is, spending as much time as you want with your loved ones, and that's definitely one definition for me. Another definition could be not having to work if you don't want to. But there's a specific number definition, and to me, that is when your passive income investments, the income from your passive income investments cover your expenses, and so that you don't have to work. So just a very simple example, if your expenses are $5,000 a month, that's $60,000 a year. If you were able to have passive income investments of $1 million generating just 6%, you would, and your expenses don't change year in and year out, you would cover those expenses and then you wouldn't have to work. So that's my definition of financial freedom.
Got it. We've got less than a minute left. Any particular lessons you want to bring out to our audience that really are going to be driven home in the book before we close out on our time today?
Well, it is all about being mindful and applying these mindfulness techniques to everyday life in personal finance, and it doesn't have to be professional. And so what I did want to just point out is, I give everybody 1 hour free of prosperity coaching. If you go on to my website at joelsalomon.com, that's JoelSalomon.com, you could just fill out a financial freedom survey today, and you could get your 1 hour free. And if anyone does it today, I'll actually give them, if they want, my process that I had used for investing in stocks.
Joel, thanks for being a guest on the show.
Michael, thanks so much. Appreciate your time.
My pleasure. Joel Salomon, Chief Prosperity Officer, SaLaurMor.com. All right, we'll be right back on the other side of this break with Ed Baxter, Private Equity Spotlight, coming up next.